In the vibrant city of Istanbul, Turkey, a seemingly perfect family celebration shatters into chaos in an instant. A devoted wife, full of love and trust, faces the unthinkable when she uncovers a devastating betrayal. Her husband is having an affair with her own sister. As the truth unravels before her family, the joyous occasion transforms into a heart-wrenching confrontation, leading to a spiral of emotions that will forever change their lives. What happens next will leave you breathless and questioning how deep the scars of betrayal can run. Eileen, 34 years old, a devoted wife and loving mother. Eileen is the heart of her family and a respected figure in her community. With a warm smile and a nurturing spirit, she is adored by those around her. However, beneath the surface of her seemingly perfect life lies a dark secret, one that threatens to shatter her trust and tear her family apart. Eileen's world is about to unravel in ways she could never have imagined. Ozan, 36 years old, a successful businessman, Ozan presents himself as the ideal husband, charming and attentive. He is well-liked and respected in both his personal and professional life, embodying the role of a loving partner. Yet, behind the facade of loyalty and devotion, he is entangled in a secret affair with Eileen's sister. This hidden betrayal reveals the darker side of his character and sets the stage for a catastrophic confrontation that will change everything. Merve, 30 years old, Eileen's younger sister, Merve, is cherished as her best friend and confidant. With a lively personality and a close bond with Eileen, she is seen as a source of support and joy within the family. However, unbeknownst to Eileen, Merve harbors a devastating secret. She is involved in an affair with Eileen's husband. This ultimate betrayal will not only shatter the trust between the sisters, but will also ignite a chain of events that lead to heart-wrenching consequences. The family resides in Istanbul, Turkey, a city rich in history and vibrant culture. Renowned for its close-knit families and cherished traditions, Istanbul serves as the backdrop for their lives. On this particular day, they are hosting a joyous family gathering to celebrate a special occasion filled with laughter, love, and the warmth of togetherness. Little do they know, this celebration will soon be overshadowed by shocking revelations that threaten to tear their family apart. As the family gathering unfolds, Eileen can't shake the growing unease in her gut. Over the past few weeks, she has noticed subtle signs of her husband Ozan's betrayal. His late nights, whispered phone calls, and a distance that felt all too familiar. Her suspicions weigh heavily on her heart, and she knows she can no longer ignore the truth. In a bold and decisive moment, Eileen resolves to confront Ozan and Merve in front of their entire family, determined to expose the affair and seek the truth once and for all, no matter the consequences. Eileen's instincts scream at her as she observes Ozan's increasingly secretive behavior. He becomes adept at hiding his phone, often turning it face down and quickly silencing notifications when she enters the room. Long nights spent away from home become more frequent, and excuses slip easily from his lips. The laughter that once filled their home is replaced by an unsettling silence. Each passing day amplifies Eileen's suspicions, and the nagging feeling that something is dreadfully wrong festers within her. She knows she must confront the truth before it consumes her. As the family celebration continues, the air is thick with laughter and joy, but Eileen feels like she's in a different world, one filled with dread and uncertainty. Her heart races as she watches her family members exchange smiles and share stories, oblivious to the storm brewing within her. Each cheerful toast and heartfelt hug serves as a painful reminder of the facade she must maintain while grappling with her suspicions. Eileen's emotions simmer just beneath the surface. She glances at Ozan, who is engaged in conversation with Merve, laughing a little too heartily at something that seems insignificant. The sight sends a jolt of anguish through her. Doubts and fears claw at her mind, amplifying the tension in the room. She knows she cannot continue to ignore the truth. Her intuition has been screaming at her for weeks. With every passing minute, the weight of the impending confrontation grows heavier. Eileen's palms sweat, and she takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. The lively chatter around her fades into a dull roar as her focus sharpens on the two people she once trusted most. She feels as if she's on the edge of a precipice, teetering between a desire for clarity and the fear of what that clarity might reveal. In that moment, Eileen makes a resolute decision. The time for uncertainty is over. The truth must be unveiled, and she must confront them in front of everyone. The thought of exposing the affair feels like both a betrayal and a necessity. The chaos that will inevitably ensue looms large in her mind, but she understands that the burden of doubt is far more unbearable. With her heart pounding, she steels herself for the confrontation, knowing that once the words are spoken, nothing will ever be the same again. With her heart pounding and emotions swirling, Eileen takes a deep breath and stands before her family, commanding the room's attention. The joyous laughter fades as a heavy silence descends, and all eyes turn toward her, curiosity and concern etched on their faces. Eileen's voice trembles, but is resolute as she calls out Ozan and Merv. "I need to speak to both of you," she declares, her heart racing with a mix of fear and determination. The atmosphere crackles with tension as murmurs ripple through the crowd. Confusion and intrigue flash across her family's faces as they sense the gravity of the moment. In one swift motion, Eileen unveils the truth. Ozan has been having an affair with Merv, my own sister. The words hang in the air like a thunderclap, shattering the festive mood and sending shockwaves through the gathering. Gasps erupt, and disbelief washes over the room. Family members exchange bewildered glances, their minds racing to comprehend the betrayal unfolding before them. Chaos ensues as the reality of Eileen's revelation sinks in. Voices rise, accusations fly, and tears begin to flow. Merv stands frozen, her face pale as shock and guilt wash over her. Ozan, momentarily speechless, struggles to regain his composure as anger and desperation flicker in his eyes. The warmth of familial love is replaced by a tempest of emotions. Hurt, rage, confusion, and heartbreak collide. As the scene escalates, Eileen feels a mix of vindication and devastation. This confrontation was meant to bring clarity, but instead, it has unleashed a torrent of chaos that threatens to engulf them all. The once close family dynamic crumbles, replaced by an atmosphere charged with betrayal and pain, leaving everyone questioning how love could so easily turn into such profound treachery. In the seething heat of the moment, the chaos escalates to an unimaginable level. Ozan, consumed by rage and desperation, feels the walls closing in around him as the truth of his betrayal unravels before the eyes of his family. The disbelief etched on their faces only fuels his fury. Overwhelmed by the weight of his exposed secrets, he turns to Merv, who stands paralyzed in shock, her expression shifting from guilt to fear. With a sudden surge of emotion, Ozan lunges at Merv, his anger boiling over in a fit of rage. The peaceful atmosphere that once filled the room is shattered as he grabs her, the sounds of gasps and frantic cries echoing off the walls. Eileen watches in horror, frozen in disbelief as the confrontation spirals out of control. The family gathering transforms into a horrific crime scene in an instant. Ozan's rage blinds him to the consequences of his actions as he strikes Merv, the once close sisters now engulfed in a violent clash. Cries of shock and horror erupt from the stunned family members, who scramble to intervene. But the chaos unfolds too quickly. As the struggle intensifies, Merv falls to the ground, gasping in pain. Eileen's heart shatters as she realizes that the betrayal has escalated to an irreversible point. The air grows thick with tension, fear, and disbelief, as her family stands frozen, unsure of how to react. In that moment, the reality of what has transpired sinks in. An innocent family gathering has devolved into a nightmare of violence and tragedy. As Merv lies on the floor, the room erupts in chaos. Screams fill the air, and panic spreads like wildfire. Eileen's world collapses around her, torn between disbelief and a heart-wrenching sense of loss. The aftermath of this horrifying confrontation will forever alter the course of their lives, leaving them to grapple with the tragic consequences of betrayal and rage. The chaos in the room quickly gives way to an unbearable silence as the horrifying reality sinks in. Merv lies motionless on the floor, her lifeless body a stark contrast to the vibrant celebration that had just moments ago filled the air with laughter and joy. Eileen's heart drops as she rushes to her sister's side, desperation clawing at her chest. Family members stand frozen in shock, disbelief etched across their faces. The festive decorations and celebratory food now seem like cruel reminders of what has just transpired. Eileen feels as though the ground has been pulled from beneath her, and a suffocating weight settles in her stomach. Her worst fears have materialized, but the tragic outcome is far beyond anything she could have imagined. Amidst the cries of horror and confusion, Eileen's mind races. She frantically checks for any sign of life, but the cold reality of Merv's death hits her like a tidal wave. Guilt, anger, and grief intermingle within her as she processes the magnitude of what has happened. This is no longer just a betrayal. It is a devastating loss that will leave an indelible mark on her heart. The family begins to stir, some rushing to call for help, while others can only stand in stunned silence, grappling with the sudden shift from joy to despair. Eileen feels as if she's trapped in a nightmare she cannot wake from, the image of her sister's lifeless form forever etched in her mind. The bonds of family, once strong and unbreakable, now lie shattered, replaced by an overwhelming sense of tragedy and heartbreak. In the aftermath of this horrific scene, Eileen is left to confront the reality that not only has she lost her sister, but the very foundation of her family has been irrevocably altered. As the weight of grief presses down on her, she knows that nothing will ever be the same again. The echoes of that fateful gathering will haunt her, a constant reminder of the betrayal that led to such devastating consequences. Within moments of the tragedy, the serene ambience of the family gathering is shattered, replaced by the blaring sirens of police cars racing to the scene. Istanbul's police quickly spring into action, launching an immediate investigation into the horrifying incident. The air is thick with tension and disbelief as officers flood the once festive home, their presence a stark reminder of the nightmare that has unfolded. Detectives begin to gather initial witness reports from the stunned family members who are still grappling with the shocking events. The atmosphere is chaotic, filled with overlapping voices and tearful confessions. As they recount the events leading up to Merv's death, the detectives listen intently, piecing together the fragments of the tragic story. Witnesses describe the heated argument that erupted between Eileen, Ozan, and Merv. Emotions had been running high even before the confrontation, with Eileen's suspicions hanging like a dark cloud over the gathering. As family members struggle to comprehend what has happened, they recount the shocking moment when Eileen exposed the affair, the subsequent chaos, and the violent escalation that followed. Detectives take notes, focusing on every detail, the sudden shift in atmosphere, the sounds of chaos, and the heartbreaking image of Merv lying lifeless on the floor. They also interview Ozan, who is now in a state of shock, his anger giving way to despair. The detectives observe his demeanor, searching for any signs of guilt or remorse, as they begin to understand the complex web of emotions that led to this tragedy. Forensic teams arrive shortly after, collecting evidence from the scene. They meticulously document the surroundings, gathering any physical evidence that could shed light on the violent confrontation. As they comb through the chaos, the detectives remain focused on uncovering the truth behind this tragic incident, knowing that the implications of their findings will forever alter the lives of those involved. The forensic team meticulously combs through the chaotic scene, collecting critical physical evidence that tells the story of the violent confrontation. Blood samples are gathered from the floor, each drop a grim reminder of the violence that erupted in what was once a joyful family gathering. Broken furniture and shattered items litter the area, each fragment bearing witness to the chaos and despair that unfolded in an instant. Detectives document every detail, knowing this evidence will be crucial in reconstructing the timeline of events. As the forensic team works, detectives interview family members, uncovering the emotional toll the affair took on their relationships. Grief and confusion fill the air as relatives recount Eileen's growing suspicions about Ozan and the silent struggles Merv faced. The interviews reveal a complex web of resentment and betrayal that had festered beneath the surface, illuminating how deep-seated issues can lead to devastating consequences. The detectives realize that understanding these emotional dynamics is just as essential as the physical evidence in uncovering the truth behind the tragic incident. The investigators sit down with Eileen, her eyes red-rimmed and filled with anguish, as she recounts the heart-wrenching events that led to her sister Merv's death. Her voice trembles as she speaks, revealing the torment of her suspicions about Ozan and the betrayal that shattered her world. The detectives listen intently, taking notes as Eileen describes the mounting tension that had been brewing within the family, her feelings of isolation as she confronted the reality of her husband's affair. Each detail she shares adds another layer to the investigation, helping the detectives understand the emotional stakes involved. As they interview other family members, the detectives begin to piece together the broader narrative. Relatives express their shock and disbelief, sharing their own observations of the discord that had taken root in the family dynamics. Some recount hushed conversations and furtive glances exchanged between Ozan and Merv, while others reveal the weight of unspoken resentment that hung over the gathering. Slowly, the full picture of betrayal emerges, painting a portrait of a family torn apart by secrets and lies. The investigators recognize that the escalating tension not only led to a tragic confrontation, but also reflects the profound impact of emotional wounds that lingered long before that fateful night. The courtroom buzzes with a heavy tension as family members take the stand, each testimony peeling back layers of heartbreak and betrayal. Eileen stands, her voice quivering as she shares her emotional account of discovering her husband's affair with her sister Merv. Her words are filled with anguish, describing the moment she confronted them during what was meant to be a joyful family gathering. The room falls into a profound silence as she recounts the violent chaos that ensued, her pain palpable and raw, resonating deeply with everyone present. Other family members follow suit, their testimonies echoing Eileen's anguish. They speak of the shock that enveloped the family, the whirlwind of emotions that turned a celebration into a nightmare. As they share their perspectives on the betrayal and its aftermath, the courtroom witnesses the profound impact of the tragedy. Each testimony reveals the deep scars left by the events of that day, painting a vivid picture of loss that lingers in the hearts of those affected. The atmosphere is heavy with sorrow, and the weight of their words hangs in the air, marking this moment as a turning point in their lives and the case itself. In the courtroom, the tension mounts as Ozan's defense team presents their case, arguing that he acted in a moment of uncontrollable rage. They paint a picture of a man pushed to his limits, driven by overwhelming emotions after his affair was exposed in front of his family. The defense emphasizes the chaotic atmosphere of that fateful gathering, suggesting that Ozan's actions were not premeditated but rather a tragic response to an unbearable situation. Their strategy hinges on eliciting sympathy from the jury, portraying Ozan as a man who snapped under the weight of betrayal. In stark contrast, the prosecution firmly maintains that Ozan's actions were calculated and deliberate. They argue that the evidence points to a premeditated act fueled by jealousy and anger, highlighting the extent of Ozan's secretive behavior leading up to the confrontation. The prosecution recounts the harrowing details of the event, emphasizing the brutality of Merv's murder and the emotional turmoil it inflicted on Eileen and the family. The courtroom is gripped by the dramatic retelling of the family's downfall, with the jury left to grapple with the conflicting narratives. As the arguments unfold, it becomes clear that the fate of Ozan hangs in the balance, resting on the jury's interpretation of his state of mind that fateful day. The atmosphere in the courtroom is electric as the jury returns to deliver their verdict. Tension hangs in the air, with Eileen and other family members anxiously awaiting the outcome. When the foreman announces that Ozan is found guilty of murder, a collective gasp ripples through the room. The jury, convinced by the overwhelming evidence of Ozan's guilt, has made their decision, sealing his fate with their ruling. Ozan's face pales as he absorbs the weight of the verdict, shock and disbelief etched across his features. It's a moment that shatters the illusion he had maintained, as the reality of the consequences of his actions crashes down on him. The courtroom is filled with a mix of emotions, relief, sorrow, and lingering anger, as family members grapple with the knowledge that their lives have been irrevocably altered. Eileen's heart aches for her sister's loss, while also feeling a sense of justice served. As the judge prepares to announce the sentencing, the gravity of the situation settles heavily on everyone present, a somber reminder of the tragic events that led to this moment. In a somber courtroom filled with the echoes of heartbreak, the judge announces Ozan's sentence: life imprisonment for the murder of Merv. The words resonate like a funeral bell, signaling the end of any hope for redemption or forgiveness. Eileen sits in silence, her heart heavy with grief and loss, knowing that her sister's life has been stolen forever and that the bond she once shared with her husband has been irrevocably shattered. As Ozan is led away, the reality of the situation sinks in for the family. The betrayal and violence have left deep, unhealable scars on their lives, transforming what was once a close-knit family into a fractured shell of its former self. The devastating impact of that fateful night lingers, haunting them in their memories and shaping their futures. With Merv gone and trust forever broken, the family is left to grapple with the emotional fallout, knowing that the shadows of betrayal will loom large over their lives for years to come. Eileen is engulfed in grief, her heart aching from the loss of her sister and the profound betrayal by her husband. Each day feels like an uphill battle as she grapples with the emotional turmoil left in the wake of that tragic night. The vibrant laughter that once filled their home is now replaced by a haunting silence, a constant reminder of the family gatherings that will never be the same. Eileen often finds herself reminiscing about the joyful moments shared with Merv, which now feel like distant memories clouded by pain. The family, once tightly knit and united by love, is now frayed and divided. Eileen's relationship with her relatives becomes strained as they each process the betrayal and loss in their own ways. Some struggle to reconcile their feelings towards Ozan, torn between their loyalty to Eileen and the man they once knew. Family gatherings, once filled with warmth and connection, become uncomfortable reminders of what they have lost. Eileen's struggle to move forward is a poignant reflection of the emotional scars that will forever define their lives, as they each navigate the complicated landscape of grief and betrayal in their fractured family. The tragic case quickly captured the attention of Istanbul, igniting conversations in homes, cafes, and streets throughout the city. People were both shocked and intrigued, grappling with how such a horrific event could unfold within a family that appeared so happy and united. The news spread like wildfire, with whispers of betrayal and murder echoing through the community, serving as a stark reminder that darkness often lurks behind closed doors. As discussions unfolded, the incident became a cautionary tale, a grim reflection on the consequences of hidden secrets and lies. Many residents found themselves contemplating the fragility of trust and the hidden turmoil that can exist beneath the surface of seemingly perfect lives. Community gatherings took on a somber tone, as neighbors shared their thoughts and fears about relationships, fidelity, and the thin line between love and betrayal. This tragic story left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of Istanbul, reminding everyone that the bonds of family can be both a source of strength and, when broken, a pathway to devastating consequences. This tragic story serves as a haunting reminder of how betrayal can emerge from the very people we hold dearest. It underscores the unsettling truth that the closest relationships can sometimes harbor the darkest secrets, capable of shattering lives and families in an instant. As we reflect on Eileen's heartbreaking journey, we are confronted with the reality that hidden truths can lead to devastating consequences, rippling through our lives in ways we might never foresee. The tale is a powerful cautionary reminder for all of us to nurture open communication and trust in our relationships. It illustrates how the facade of a perfect life can mask a tumultuous undercurrent, leading to moments of unimaginable pain. Ultimately, this story invites us to examine our own connections, encouraging vigilance against the secrets that can quietly erode the foundations of love and trust, reminding us of the importance of honesty in safeguarding our relationships from the shadows of betrayal. We invite you to share your thoughts on this heart-wrenching case. What do you think about the events that unfolded, and do you believe justice was truly served for Eileen and Merv? Join the conversation by leaving your comments below. Your insights could help others process the complexity of betrayal and its repercussions on families and communities. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime narratives. Together, let's explore the intricacies of human relationships and the profound effects of secrets and lies. Share your perspective on how this crime has shaped the lives of those involved and the wider community. Your voice matters, and we look forward to hearing from you.